Um, one of um, one of my Clapper friends told me to elaborate on the video that I made about Africans and Black Americans on the video that I made yesterday. And what I was saying was that for those of you that don't know what I was talking about, what I was saying is that it just don't make sense how Black Americans owned this country and we ended up being slaves. It just don't it just don't sound right to me. How is it that Black Americans own America and we ended up being slaves in our own country? That don't sound right. Like what happened in one of these timelines to where as though we went from owning this country and making it for what it is and building it and knowing the structures of it to now being slaves in it. And the fact that Black people are the true owners of America, white people wasn't here at the time. We had a few Cubans that was here, but white people was never in America. America is an old ancient country and Black people owned it. There was no white people here. So how is it that white people all of a sudden come here and now they are the owners and we are the slaves? And I had made a video talking about that. And this is my unpopular opinion. Because if y'all don't know, back in the day, Black people used to own slaves too. Black people used to own slaves. And it wasn't just Black people that were slaves. You had white slaves too. But this is, like I said before, this is my unpopular opinion. I believe what happened was that when the white man came over here, when Christopher Columbus came over here, because I found out some new information about Christopher Columbus, but I'm not going to get into that. When the white people actually came to America, they seen how powerful Americans were. They seen how powerful we are as Black people. And they couldn't enslave us. They couldn't do it because we owned it. They couldn't do it. So what they did was, I believe that they went to Africa and they took Africans and brought the Africans to America because they couldn't enslave the original Black people that owned this country. They couldn't enslave them. They couldn't do it because we taught them. They couldn't do it. So I believe that they did go to Africa and they took a lot of Africans and they brought them over here to America. And they were the slaves. I believe that the Africans were the new slaves in the United States. And the original Black people, they were not. This is why you had some Black people that did own Black slaves. Now, I believe that when they brought these Africans over here, they don't know nothing about America. All they know is that they are from Africa. So when they brought these Africans over here, they were taught everything that they knew, and they knew that they was going to be slaves. I guess this is what they talk about, the transatlantic slave trade. When they talk about Angola, look up Angola and the transatlantic slave trade. What happened in Angola? Now I believe that they brought these black Africans over here, and they were the slaves. And white people and Black people owned these slaves that came from Africa. They don't know nothing about America. All they know is that they're slaves, right? And what I believe is that Black people that is indigenous to America, that owned America, I believe that Black people started having sex with these Africans. And I believe that these white people started having sex with these Africans. So when the indigenous Americans that owns America started having sex with these slave Africans, when we have babies, our babies are now part slave and part owner. Just like they talk about the Anunnakis having sex with the humans and stuff. Everything is shadow work. So I believe that the indigenous Black people that own America started having sex with the Africans. And when they started having babies, these babies are now slaves, right? These babies are now slaves. And then the white man started having sex with these Africans, right? This is how we got so many colors now. This is why some of us is light skinned, some of us is light brown skin, because even the white man started having sex with these Africans. So now we got a mixed breed of people living in the United States. We got Africans, American, even though we are not really American, but now you got African blood on the soil because everybody was having sex with them. And what I believe is that in the timeline, I believe that it was a war, not necessarily a major war, but I believe something happened between the Africans and the indigenous Black Americans. I believe that something went down between these two people. I believe that the white man created a war between Africans and the true Americans, the true indigenous. And I believe that they told these Africans, look, if we can get rid of these indigenous Americans, then y'all won't be slaves no more. If we can get rid of these true owners, if we can get rid of them, then we will be the new owners of this country. But all we got to do is get rid of them, just like what's about to happen on earth right now. So what happened was the African slaves and the white man went to war with the indigenous owners and killed them off. So now we have no more owners in America because all the indigenous Americans is now gone. So what the white man did was all the babies that was left, they are now indentured slaves. I think they call indentured slaves. So now you got all these babies that is now created. They are now slaves now. And I believe what happened was once the Africans helped the white man destroy all the indigenous Americans, all the true owners, the white man turned on the Africans and said, you know what? We are your gods now. You do what we tell you to do. Because he couldn't control the indigenous owners because they know that they know that they ain't the owners, so they couldn't do nothing to them, so they had to get rid of them. And they used the Africans to do it. So what the white man did was he changed on the Africans and said, you know what? We now own this country. And you work for us now. And all the babies that was created, the Africans had to raise these babies. So now these babies got African slave blood in them, and they have the indigenous Black slaves in them. So they got the gods of this country blood in them, and they got the slave blood. It's somewhat like the Anunnaki story. It's something like the Anunnaki story, and it's something like what's about to go down now when the Antichrist and Christ hit this planet. The same thing only repeats itself. It's just shadow work. So I believe that the white man switched on the Africans. This is why they named us African Americans. Because we are all now have blood from Africa. Because we're not originally from Africa. We never been there. But the fact that we got African blood in us, because our ancestors was having sex with Africa, this is why they gave us the name African American. But we are not really African. We just got African blood in us because our ancestors started having sex with the African slaves. And the white man started having sex with the African slaves. So once the African slaves destroyed the indigenous owners, the white man changed on them and said, now we your gods. You got to worship us. And all of your babies, they are going to grow up knowing that they are indentured slaves too. And I believe this is what happened in the timeline. And this is how the slaves came about. I believe in my heart that this is what happened. So now their children grew up to be slaves. Their children grew up to be slaves because there's no one here to tell them that they are not slaves. Because the African don't know that they never been slaves. They came over here knowing that they are slaves. So how they going to tell their kids that they aren't?